Hey guys, JSHomecook, home cooking channel. Here we go, chicken vegetable soup. And what we had for that was green peas, onions, carrots, celery, kale, cabbage, tomato guts, a bit of garlic, and the chicken stock from that stewing hen. And then later on, to help fill out the soup, we also added some frozen edamame beans and green beans. Did something new with the footage this time, kind of like a movie magic sort of thing. You'll see when we get there, but yeah, some of these vegetables were pretty gnarly looking, the celery and the carrots especially, but still usable. If anyone tells you otherwise, I suspect they have a dainty little stomach. No offense to them, they can't help having a dainty little stomach. And all bets are off if you have IBS or something like that. If this sounds like you, consider drinking kombucha. I'd bet that within a couple of weeks, you'd go from just having this weak, crying little baby stomach to having one that's tough tootin' and resilient. And that's all thanks to the microflora and fauna in that kombucha. But we started out making this soup with all the veggie prep there. You saw me peel the carrots, trim everything, and now I'm just clearing off the board and burying those bodies in the compost. I wanted to make this a rustic soup, not because I wanted it to be rustic, but because I was lazy and didn't feel like dicing everything finely. So everybody's just getting a rough chop today, and we're just going to blow through this without a care in the world. You'll see my movie magic I was talking about earlier now. I think it worked pretty well for the celery, but when we get up to the carrot here, it's pretty bad. Yeah, that's awful. I think you need like a beginning, a middle, and an end when you do edits like that, because you need the drama. It's not just a story about diced carrots, it's also about how we got there. Working on the onions now, same sort of thing. Nice big rough chop. Roughly chopping onion is one of my favorite things to do because it makes me look so professional. I can chop them up so quickly that sometimes I don't even need to edit the video. I think moving forward, I will try doing this sort of editing where I just do a couple of chops and then recut the video at the end of the dicing. So these here are ribs from kale. And I used the leaves for a salad and just decided to keep the ribbing for the soup that I knew I was going to make later. This here is the cabbage, and that's actually the sun leaves from a cabbage. They are edible, just not particularly palatable, so I like using them in soups. And now we're just working on that green onion at the end here, which we're going to throw in the soup right at the end once it's done cooking. After prepping the veggies, get your stock pot, put it on heat. And because I had chicken fat from the stock, I just used that for my fat instead of oil. And once that came up to temp, I just tossed in my mirepoix. And this time it included the kale ribs, just because I had them and figured this would be a good time for them to go in. I cooked that for a little bit, then I added some salt, and then also the tomato guts. And those are the tomato guts from the dehydrated tomato video. Use every part of the tomato, just as your ancestors would. I continued to let that cook a while, and then I added some Arctic thyme and also some garlic. And I included the sound in for that one because, I don't know, I just wanted to. I did cook that garlic for about a minute before adding this broth, but after that, added the broth. And I actually did also have some of that pork broth left, so I used that as well because I didn't want that going to waste. And here's just a couple of shots of it melting away in the pot. After that, came in with a little bit more salt. Always season as you go with soups, at least if you're making soup with me. So I used 2 of those yogurt containers and then just this white container of stock from the stewing hen. And I still have 2 yogurt containers left. So if you're doing the math, you can get like 2 big soups out of one of those hens, I guess. After getting the soup up to a simmer for about 45 minutes to an hour, it was ready for the cabbage. About another 10 minutes or so to let it wilt away. And then the soup was basically done, but I kind of felt like it could use some filling out, so I looked in my freezer and I had these green beans, peas, and decided against adding the peas since I already had some peas from the garden in there. So I started out by adding 4 handfuls of the edamame beans, and I gave that an extra 10 minutes or so. And then I added the green beans, and then I just gave it a really nice stir again and let it cook for another couple minutes, and then I turned the heat off. Frozen vegetables are already cooked, so they just need to be thawed through, and also helps cool down the soup a little bit faster. Once the heat was turned off, I dumped in the green onions that I had prepped earlier. Typically, I'll add green onion right at the end. I just see that often in cooking instructions, so I do it. Whether or not there's merit or it's necessary, to be determined. And here is the soup all finished. I think I've shown this like 5 times now. And it's not even particularly good footage, so yeah. This is the last time I show it, though, I promise. Anyway, that's the soup. And yeah, I don't know. Give it a try or don't. It's not really a recipe. It's just what I had in my fridge when I decided to make soup. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you again. Bye for now.